What's up, friends? This is Jazz bringing you kind of a new kind of video. Kinda not. This isn't technically a review, but it is, of Story of Seasons, Pioneers of Olive Town. Mostly this video is going to be like my time with it, pretty much. And I will talk about some of the technical aspects. Why am I doing this? Well, I've been wasting 2.5 weeks. Okay, no, to me it wasn't a waste. To me, it was a great time. But I was pretty much wasting 2.5 weeks that I could be working on YouTube playing this game. Did I originally have an intent to do a video like this? Honestly, I didn't plan on it anytime soon. But why not? To make up for the lack of content, me working on content, I figured I would just put something useful, make something useful of my time with it. I'm pretty much going to share stories, some tips I've learned, pretty much. It's an all-out Story of Season, Pioneer of Olive Town video. Again, this is also unscripted, so keep that in mind. So, is it a good game? What do you think? It is, how do I put it? I really enjoy it. I mean, I wouldn't have spent over 2 weeks straight, literally, me doing nothing but playing that for 6 hours. Yes, that's how bad it got on some days, folks. There are some odd things that I really don't care for, though, like the lack of actual competition, in a way, where a lot of the other Story of Seasons, games had some form of competition. The Story of Seasons game had the monthly or every few week where you would see how much you shipped and then you would earn property, right, based on your sales. Both the Story of Seasons Trio of Towns and Story of Seasons More Friends in Mineral Town had some animal festivals to a degree, so they had that going for them. Where in this game, no. They have festivals, but they don't have competition-based festivals. They have more innocent. Okay, back up. They do have some type of competition-based festival, but not based on your farming, like your animals or your crops. They have a festival where you smash a rock, and you have to get it in a certain color to earn points. And then they have a fishing festival, but nothing to show your hard work on what level your crops are, or how many hearts of affection your animal has, which again, that is a little bit of a bummer because you really put pride in that. Like, at this point, if there was a festival for that, I would probably win the harvest one. I got like 10-star crops for days, honestly. So there's nothing to show for my hard work except for maybe the money, and when you cook something, right, you can get higher quality food for it. But really, there was nothing in there. So you're wondering, why do I invest so much time in it? Well, because there's so much more to love about it, I think. Like, the characters are actually memorable. That's a positive of this game. I've pretty much found myself visiting almost every villager almost every day. Almost. There were times I had to put priorities elsewhere, but whenever I had free time, I'd be going and talking to the characters. I remember most of their names while playing the game. When I see the character, I know them, guys. So I may not be able to mention all of them right off there, but it's one of those games where they seem to invest more in the story or the character development in a way, which, again, not a lot of those games do. Whoa, okay, I guess some of them do. Okay, guys, I just spent so much time with this game that I was bound to get to know these characters, alright? It's mostly my fault. I probably didn't see much of the characters in the other games. I was so focused on my farm. I suppose they actually did something right by not adding those competitions. Wow, here goes me taking back my statement of it being a negative. Because when I was focused on getting better crops and doing, more that way, I wasn't so focused on the people of the town. But knowing that really that's, you only just kind of do your stuff to do your stuff and it's not going to matter, you're better off making a lot of friends. Well, see? Pioneer of Olive Town has it all. Now, is there anything worth you working hard, though? Actually, yes. You will unlock titles and achievements accordingly each time you do a certain amount of things, and you can get prizes for it. You could get, like, you go check the town hall every now and then after you've seen, like, oh, you've popped up an achievement. There should be a reward there for you, which they can be useful, folks. Believe you me. Like, you can get things like lumber makers, which is really good, by the way. You'll need a lot of those. You'll get ingus makers, again. You need a lot of those, probably more than the lumber makers. You can get, like, things like mayonnaise and cheese makers and milk makers, and, gem makers. Again, you'll eventually need a lot of gem makers too, but more just to get money than anything else, so they're probably the least of your priorities. So plus you can get things what they call town medals, so you can get like bronze, silver, gold, or bronze is like worth 120 gold, the silver is worth 600, and the gold is worth, I think, 1,200 a piece. So don't just look down on these things. Ship them. They're worth nothing else though but money. Or they look pretty, but I mean, if you wanted to keep one of each, I guess you could for sentimental sake, but they're better just in your shipping box. So, in other words, Jazz is telling you tips and tricks while giving her a review on it. Yeah. So, speaking of tips and tricks, any beginner, what should they know? Oh, before I go on this, guys, I am a so-called expert at seedling mode, guys. I have never played normal mode yet. I know, you're looking at me, you've spent like at least 20 hours in a week playing this game, and you haven't did normal mode. I'm taking my time, guys. Maybe my 4th save file. Yes, guys, I have 3 save files. One was when I very first started the game, which I got quite far in, but yet I didn't feel as fulfilled with. I made so many mistakes. Second, as the one I'm currently doing, where I got to winter in, I think it was winter 10th, or I forget what it was, where I did a lot of things right, but I was still learning things right from it, so I didn't still get as much, and I decided to start a 3rd save file to see how far I could get with everything I know. And one thing I've learned, guys, is that the more you know, the quicker you can accomplish things, in a way. Like, I found that my 2nd file, I did a whole lot more than I did in my 1st file till winter. I'm on the 2nd summer of my 1st file, and I was still halfway to what I was doing on the 2nd file, where I'm on spring 15th of my 3rd file, and I got my small barn, small coop, my house upgraded once, the bridge built, 2 of my tools to silver. I got like 5 lumber makers, about 5-ish ingus makers, 1 jewel maker, or where they make the tool, or the jewels, like the diamonds and that. I've gotten to the 30th level of the 2nd mine. I still haven't unlocked the 3rd area yet, but guys, I'm working on it. But to see what I mean, I got that much done in 15, days in that game. So if I keep my mind set and prioritized, I probably could get more done, right? And I know, so what is some advice, though, in general about this? For starters, one big thing, guys. Don't stuff all your items in one storage. You could craft in this game, kind of like Stardew Valley and My Time at Portia. Better than My Time at Portia. Hey, Stardew Valley is a good game. I'm just learning how to handle it and socialize like I'm doing in this game. But my point being, with your storage systems, don't just stuff all your stuff you don't need in the one storage box. What you should do ideally is have 2 or 3 storages built close together, and save one for like the lumber and the wood material, one for like the stone and the mining material, one for the grass material, for example. Now you could argue you could only put so much in each box. Even with that, it helps a lot because you have one box designated to it, and eventually you might need a second or third, but don't always have it organized, guys. Be organized. Have a designated box or two equal to for everything you need. Like even the miscellaneous stuff, like when you earn furniture, for example, have them for that purpose. Like, and try to keep them close together. I've learned. And now that's the same thing with the makers, guys. Try to have a designated spot for each set of makers. Like for the ingot makers, the lumber makers. Make sure they're all close together and not scattered, one there, one there, one there. It makes your life a whole lot easier when you can just go to one spot and just use that spot. Yes, Jazz is being organized with something. Oh my gosh, I know. Yeah, believe me. Another thing that I've learned in the second file that I kept remembering in the third file. The map is sort of your best friend in multiple ways. The map shows where people are. The map also shows the store hours, which I did not know until the second file. Either that or the update did that, but when you're watching this, it's been the update, so check the store hours. Yes, do that too. Check very carefully the store hours, the store days. That way you can plan your day. Okay, it's open this day. I can go get this. Because if you're going just trying to remember, you will mess up. Trust me. Another thing, if you can, I don't always still remember to do this, check the weather for those 3 days. You can plan your day according to them too. Like, for example, if it's going to be raining and you don't need to water your crops, you could spend more time fishing or mining or clearing your land. Trust me, like have that in your head what you're going to do. But overall, in that section of advice, the biggest thing is organization. Not just with where your stuff is, but with your planning of the day. Like, let's say you've got, like, the first little while is fine, because you may have one barn, one coop, 1 or 2 animals in it, and just a small amount of crops. So that's fine. But once you go further in the game, this is more important. Have a plan to tackle. Like, if you're going to a barn, to make it easier, say, okay, I'm going to do the milking animals first, then I'm going to go do the animals where I would, shear. And when I say that, I mean petting them too, like pet the cow, the goat, and then go pat the sheep and that way if you say, okay, this animal, this animal, this animal, this animal, you have some sort of a plan instead of going all over the place. Also, guys, once you're able to get big barns and big coops, try to keep it to them. Once you have your barn and your big coop, you may put the small barn and coop there again, but only long enough till you can upgrade it to another big barn and big coop. That way, like, you'll have at least 2 barns and 2. That's what happened in my second file. I now have 2 big barns and 2. Oh no, I have 1 big coop right now. But just wait until you're close to finishing before you upgrade them. What I do is that my baby animals will go to the other barn for I can have another set of animals. Now you're thinking, I'm doing an awful lot there, but I'm getting used to handling it now. Like, being able to handle the amount of attention I give. So, but if you're just starting this out, stay as small as possible, because it can be a lot easier. Alright, another bit of advice that I've learned. And this might only apply to the updated versions of these games. When I first started, that may not have been a thing, or I was not paying attention. Use those spirit coins for starters. The sprites are so important, not just for doing some stuff and giving you some items and coins, but once you unlock 100 of them, you'll get a spirit girl. Well, once you get 30, you unlock a little girl, and then she becomes her full spirit person, which unlocks the shrine. The shrine is important, guys, because I learned I could do something that is so much easier than unlocking that dumb greenhouse. Guys, a big tip for you guys: don't prioritize that greenhouse. Now, if you were watching this if this was a long time ago, then yes. But I have not, even on my first file, I have not unlocked the greenhouse. Okay, think of it this way. You need 50 orchilium bars. You need 50 mirage lumber, not wood, lumber, which is 3 per, which that isn't as bad, but you need 5 per for the ingot bars. Plus, you need 10 olive crystals, which aren't as bad if you do a lot of stuff with digging out, with the bucket. You need about 50, or 20 sump pumps, which takes a lot of material too. All of that for a greenhouse. What can you do though? Now, well, once you get to the shrine, for 100 points per, there are 4 gardens you can unlock. 1 per first that remains in that season. For autumn, spring, summer, and winter. Yeah, and you think, yes, getting 100 spirit points, it is hard, yes. But you could do it for doing almost anything. Foraging, cutting boulder, or cutting lumber, smashing rocks, fishing. It will take a while, but it won't be as irritating as keeping an eye on how much more you need for the ingredients. I mean, surprisingly, on my second file, I've been getting close. I've got like about 10, 20 bars of, so I'm doing pretty good there. But I'm doing better than I was on my first file for sure. But I'm still struggling with that. You have to make time, and plus, I did unlock the 2 areas for the lumber and the Stonebreaker Valley, and this forest. And Stonebreaker Valley isn't so bad, actually. It is the forest that is bad. You take 3 or 4 days to be able to do anything there, where at least you can do something every day with Stonebreaker Valley. So guys, this saying, it's not worth it for the greenhouse. Just, if you do happen to somehow miraculously get enough stuff for the greenhouse, do it. If you don't need anything else, do it. But don't make that your main goal. I learned that the hard way. It takes the fun out of the game that you're playing. Make the goal to have fun. Like, my goal now is to unlock the gardens. That's choosing that over the... I know you could say you could have a whole bunch of things at once, but it's just more worth unlocking each garden as you need it. Like right now, I got the fall garden because I'm in winter and I won't be at fall for a while, so I get to still grow some crops in the fall, which is great. It gives me more to do to unlock more spirit coins. It's easier that way. What else? Well, we'll say if you want... Oh, this is part of the new thing, about the shrine. I know this might sound silly because everything there is important, but to try to hold off your rewards for your stamina and maybe your garden level. Maybe I would upgrade the garden level, your farm level once, maybe. After that, save your points for the gardens. Until you get at least the amount of gardens you want, hold off the farming level. And then your stamina, you can make a whole bunch of stuff easily with fishing. Fish up a bunch of just normal fish like herring and sardines. You can make the fish, grilled fish, which is amazing food. The only downside is you get full, so you can only have so many at once, and you gotta be careful when you eat it. But you can make a whole bunch of them and have them on hand. You'll be golden, guys. Don't worry about your stamina at that point when you're able to unlock points. Like, of course, when you first start, you gotta be careful, be mindful of your stamina, which also includes that try to use as much as you can your first few seasons. Like don't waste a whole bunch of your stamina, because you're not gonna bank it, right? You're not gonna get those stamina back, as bonus. You use your stamina. If it happens to be too late and you have stamina, go to bed. That's the only time you should go to bed, when it's like close to 2 a.m. and you still have a decent amount of stamina. But if it's like even 10 o'clock, try to use up the stamina as much as you can before you go to bed. You'll get a lot more done, and you'll be, thankful for it. So, talking about the memorable characters, did I have any memorable memories? Where am I at? Well, on my second file, I am engaged to Iori. I'm saying Iori because people say it's a capital I, because capital L is completely different, but people say it's either Glory or Iori. And a lot of people agree it's Iori, so I'll just say Iori. I'm engaged to him to be married on, winter 12th, I believe? So I'll be, I'm on winter 6th or 7th then, on my second file. So I'm going to be married very soon to him. But any memorable memories with these town folks? One person I could talk to in abundance about is Jacopo, the mayor's son. Now, do I hate him? Really? More of a joking yes. Because he nearly got my character killed. There was a cutscene I had with him that he lost. I think was it a wallet or something, and you agreed to help him look for it. You were looking near the shore for his wallet, and the tide pulled you in. At least he had the common sense to go get. What was her name? I think she was a lifeguard character. Yeah, see, I don't remember all the characters. I don't talk to her as much. But she went and found you, and at first she was going to give you a talk to, but then she found out it was Jacopo's wallet. And she said, next time, give me before you get anyone else. And the way he described me when she was like, where is he? He said, oh, you see those little bubbles there? I don't know, the expression on his face didn't sound like he was, I guess he was concerned enough to go get her help. But my gosh, Jacopo, you almost got me killed. And then there was another scene afterwards. She's like, hey, can I ask your help again? And in my head, outside the game, I'm like, no. I did say yes in the game, because by this point I got morbidly curious what was going to happen. All it was just to help him look and check the lights, the street lights. But with my luck, I'm surprised one of them didn't fall on my character. I know, you should say, wow, that's an awful dark way to go, but come on, he nearly got me killed one time. And yet, it is mother, the mayor, the mayor's wife in the museum, head, is kind of a killjoy, but you know what, maybe that's what this guy needs. And even the mayor sometimes gets sick of his shenanigans. He's apparently lazy and doesn't like to do work, and maybe being the mayor's son is part of that. But the mayor seems to work hard, and he has pride in his town. Honestly, I think the mayor's the only decent guy of the three. The only real likable guy of the three family members. I swear, when I walked up and gave the mayor a gift, I'm like, yeah, nothing for you, buddy. I said, okay, I'll talk to you, but nothing for you. I'm like, you know your son nearly killed me. And you're saying, Jazz, you were talking to video game characters. See where this game got me? That I'm literally socializing with video game characters, which you could argue is kind of a bad thing too. But when you grow to get to know characters, you just get to know them. Like, I would say the most memorable character for me is Jacopo for those scenes alone. Right? Like, me nearly getting killed by him put something on me that I won't forget him. So, what am I going after in my third file? Emilio. I know, but he was my second choice on the second file, or one of my choices. I had two of them up to 6 hearts. I had Iori and Emilio. And what made me choose Iori in that one file? Well, one of the scenes said, okay, I'll be there to protect you, you're stuck with me. Oh, God, I couldn't say no to him. But I'm doing a proper thing in the third file. I'm not spending as much time with him to get those cutscenes, so I'm going to go all the way for Emilio. Giving him fish. He seems to like fish. Okay, one thing I haven't learned yet is I gotta really research gift preferences. Which, again, if you guys are very professionals, do that, right? Like, if you have the time to look up your guy's favorite things, or anyone you want to be friends' favorite gifts. For me, I just randomly give what I have and see their reaction. Like he seems okay with fish, and the mayor seems to be okay with almost anything you give him. I gave him an iron ore, and he said, oh, your generosity has no bounds. I'm like, what? I'd give you almost the equivalent of a rock. Maybe I should try giving him a rock and see what he says. I mean, maybe he would be upset with weed, though. Yeah, I mean, grass, like, I mean, my gosh, the mayor must just be, should I be concerned he's buying favors? Because he just seems to happily accept almost anything you give him. Like, but anyway, my point being is, I never done this, I haven't done this yet, but if you're really curious, look up the gift preferences for the ones you're trying to befriend. It could still make a big difference in how long it takes you to befriend them. But in seedling mode, it is a lot easier to begin with. You could just talk to them every day, and they'll slowly get friendship towards you. A lot of the main villagers have at least 4 hearts with me by now in my second file. Right now, I'm focusing more on Emilio in the third file, and the mayor, and Nigjian, the flower shop guy. He's just a sweet old man. Like, there was a situation where we upgraded the town hall, and the mayor's wife said he's going to be keeping the hall clean, and they all kept cheering for him, and then he's like, all right, I'll clean it, and I wasn't paying attention the first time it was playing, but on the third time around, I was just reading everything and nudging the old man saying, hey, you're going to clean my room too, and my mouth dropped that it was that sweet little old man who did it, not one of the kids. I'm like, hey! Again, he's one of my other favorite characters in this game. He's just the sweetest guy, in a way. Like, and I find that, oh yeah, another tip of advice while I'm at it, try to keep everything. I know, that beats the purpose, and you'll need a lot of storage systems, but keep as much of the stuff you collect on your farm, especially the flowers. You especially need the little, I think it's a kitty flower, the pink one, the blue moondrop, the red moondrop, and then there was the main yellow flower. That's on your first farm. Keep plenty of those for honey makers. Yeah, you need a lot of honey makers. I'm learning that in my second file. I might ship one of each, but after that, don't. Like just to ship one of each. At this point, I don't think I'd even ship one of those flowers because they're hard to come by. So I don't know if you can even buy them after you ship them, so just be careful with those flowers. They're precious resource. Also, when you upgrade your house, use the fridge as storage for the food for the most part. Once you get that full, then have a designated box for the food items and take them out as you need them to cook. Like, you can, every time you upgrade your house, you'll get a little more storage for your fridge. I got my house upgraded twice, so, in my second file, so I can do the 2 storage for the fridge. Also, keep in mind that your products, when you have your animals, will get higher in quality. Same thing with your crops. Like, each star is a new item slot. So keep that in mind. You can't shove all the turnip, for example, into one spot, no matter the star. You have to have one for each star quality. So you could ship all your 10, you can put all your 10 stars in one spot of that item. So keep that in mind. The more your item changes in quality, you'll need a new spot. So I have like a 5-star egg now on my other file. I have to have a spot for that 5-star egg. You're thinking, why am I not shipping all of them? Well, guys, for the first little while, ship your produce. Like, for the most part, your item produce. Any flowers you make, ship maybe 1 of each, or for your flowers, and keep them. I keep that in mind with my grass area, which maybe I should put a spot just for flowers. I don't know, but I just count them the same. That way I can use them for honey, for the bees. That is important. You have to have a bee, area, and they make honeycomb. Then you put it in a honey maker. It takes a few days for the honeycomb to be made. So just try every flower, save as many flowers as you can. That's more important than I've ever thought it is. I've been learning a whole lot playing this game, more than I ever thought possible. Another thing about your friendships is it'll show if you've given them a gift. It doesn't show if you've talked to them, but it shows if you've given them a gift. So keep tabs of that if you're trying to befriend someone and you can't remember if you'd given them a gift. Unfortunately, it doesn't show their preference there, but that's your job to do, to either figure it out by giving them gifts or just looking online or asking a friend who knows this stuff. I guess Emilio likes fish, and so does Iori to a degree, but they slowly moved up, so maybe I should see if there's anything he likes better than fish. I mean, his family works with fish, and I actually thought Nigerian liked fish, but it doesn't seem he does as much. He seems to have a better response to flowers, so, I mean, he is a flower shop owner. What? And you're probably thinking, why did I think Nanjin liked fish? Jin, I forget what his name is. It's hard to pronounce it. Well, he fished and he taught Iori to fish. Right, he spent time fishing with them. He spent time fishing with people. So that's another part. You learn about their personality through these cutscenes, right? So maybe I should focus on flowers for him. I could buy it from him and give it back to him easily. So I guess you could buy flowers for the honey too. So we'll just hit it this way. I would worry about the main 4 flowers you find around your farm and save them. But the flowers you grow, you may save them if you'd like. But you can buy them once you ship them once. The only downside is that the quality of honeycomb will be less. So you should save your grown flowers to put in the honey maker if you'll get better quality honey in general. Honeycomb and honey in general. Like, I got 7 and 10-star honey because of the crop level. So I'm doing very well for myself in these games. And I just pretty much just wanted to and I still got a few more stories for you guys before I end it off about memories I have with this game. Like, I remember my very first egg hunt. Well, not my first, but my first in the last few weeks. So I went and did the egg hunt, and I kept asking people around. No one would egg hunt with me. I'm like, well, I guess I'm doing this by myself. I go, and both Sydney and Mikey, the 2 kids, well, I guess Raul is a kid too, but he's an older kid. He's like more of a preteen, goes up to me and says, "Oh, well, you don't have anyone? We'll hunt with you." We ended up finding 5 damn eggs, which equals a lot of happiness compared to the others. Suck it for not joining me. But one thing I remember is they're like, "Hey, maybe we could join you next year if you have no one to hunt with." Wow, that's the equivalent of saying if I still don't have any friends. Thanks. But hey, unlike before, at least I have a hubby now. He'll hopefully egg hunt with me this time. And I have good friends with a lot of them now. Then again, I did still find it kind of sweet they joined me. In a weird, twisted way. But it was still adorable, though. That they joined me and then said I didn't have any friends besides them. Also made me kind of want to befriend them a little bit. They have the cutest personalities. Like, some of their cutscenes were the cutest. Like, Mikey was training a secret dog his mom didn't know about, and then Sydney joined in, and it ended up being their secret dog. I have a question, though. Morbidly, well, not morbid. It's not morbid because nothing, like, killing or blood isn't involved. More of a sick kind of thought. If they could grow up, I think they are going to end up together. Mikey almost always follows Sydney when he isn't doing something in secret. During the Lantern Festival, which I had to go and put out myself. Thanks a lot, Iori. Or did I? No, I joined him. Sorry, there was another fireworks festival. That's what it is. I had to go by myself. Thanks, Iori. But anyway, when they were getting the lanterns, both Sydney and Mikey got 2, which means 2, 1 for each of them to throw off together, which is usually a romantic thing, according to the person. If you're special someone. Yeah, I think they're going to be a thing when they get older. Oh yeah, they're never ever going to get older in this game. That is one downside. That one thing I would love to have in a game like this is generations in a way. Let everyone else age, like they sort of did in A Wonderful Life. Like, have them get older and become a couple and have more villagers move in. But I suppose that would be way too much for them to do right now. But one of these days, they're marvelous. Take one up of Natsume. Show a generation actually getting older and taking over the farm. People would love you for it if you could make it a generational thing. And also, have the competitions back. I mean, okay, there were some positives in this game for not having it, but you had very memorable, cute scenes. But if they continue every year like that, you're not going to remember it anymore. It's going to be, oh, well, another egg festival. Bring back something memorable that way, like generations. Bring generations to it. Add competitions back to it. A lot of people were dreaming about generational Harvest Moon or Story of Seasons farming games for a long time. This might be very difficult to do, and it might take a couple of years to perfect it, but come on, guys. Maybe if it makes it easier for you, maybe allow people to customize each new villager. Like, if they have a kid, you could ask certain, like, colors and names, and, like, just, if it makes it easier for you, just do it. Like, okay, the only way I could see them being able to do this if they planned for only maybe 2 or 3 generations. Even that would be a start. If you allowed up to 3 or 4 generations and had plans for those generations, right? So if the creators and the developers sat down saying, okay, generation 1 will be these amount of villagers. For generation 2, these will be their grandson or granddaughter. Plan scenes for those. Like, my point being is, you only planned 2, 3, or 4 generations, you wouldn't have to continue doing it and continue making new characters every single time. But 4 times, maybe. Like, even if it's a limited generation, that would be a great start, right? Until you're able to continue making. I can understand it'd be hard for them to make stories for all these new villagers, and I would respect that. I can understand, though, that they'd have trouble planning each generation, so, maybe plan for 3 is pretty much all I'm saying. people would love you for it. So, about skills. Before I really head off on that, I'll talk about them a little bit. There is fishing, there is, the scooping, the bucket, there is logging, there is tilling, or is it farming, there is watering, there is mining, there is it cooking, orcharding, the mushroom one, the mushroom one. I don't know if photography is actually one, but maybe, I don't know. Should you level them all up? Yes, to a degree. When I first played the game, I almost never fished. I learned to do that because it'll help me have food for stamina when I cook them up, which cooking is good to level up too because you get better quality stuff no matter what stuff you level you put in. So cooking and fishing are actually pretty important to level up. I also learned there's this area, Lavette. He's a cooking, he loves foods. He can also be a little greedy though when it comes to food. Like he almost took the last slice of cheesecake even after he had 3 already that day. He also has a big mansion. Really? What did you do to earn that? I'd love to have a mansion. Maybe I should upgrade it long enough. I gotta see how far I can get it. Eventually, guys. Eventually. But my point being is that I find the hardest to level up is the mushroom one and orcharding. Orcharding because you can only do so much. I recommend as soon as you get I think when you in the gardens you could plant a tree too, which I'm going to try and see that. I'll add this in editing if I'm able to do so. For I can continue doing stuff, in fall and getting, trees and items and continue getting it and learning. Because I can't seem to level up my skill, or I can't put them in the seed maker, and I need a seedling maker, I think, which is level 6 for orcharding. So I've yet to get to that yet. So, and I need to get to level 6 to get a spore make, to be able to make a spore maker, because I earned one through a reward, but that's the only one I got. So I'm just working on all that. So, all in all, I was addicted to this game. The fact that you're taking over from your grandfather, dear old granddad who passed away, and making it something great is a reward in itself. And a few of the original pioneers, Niginian, I think the mayor or may not, he might be a little too young, but Angela's father, again, I forget his name. Yeah, I forget his name, isn't that awful? I might add it in post, but they're the pioneers, and you're building your grandfather's farm into something great, which again is a reward in itself. So is meeting the characters in this game, so I guess I can accept that there's no real competition. I mean, I suppose Story of Seasons was a little ridiculous in its competition, so it makes it easy enough too, because you have enough to work on as it is. Is it as good as the other games? In some ways, this is one of my favorite Story of Seasons games. Yes, I still love Trio Towns, and it does give you something to work for with the competitions and competing with your dad. That is one wins it over a little bit, but I don't think I've ever dedicated as much time as I had to Pioneers of Olive Town, because it's just the right amount of challenge when you're on Seedling mode, and I've had trouble on Seedling mode on Trio of Towns, so it gives you the right amount of challenge. Maybe someday I'll think of doing normal mode. Right? It's one of those games that I genuinely love. So I would highly recommend that you do check out this game yourself if you can afford it. It's relaxing once you get the hang of it. It gives you a sense of routine, which for someone with ASD, ADHD, and OCD-like tendencies, it can, okay, I will argue, some people say for those with OCD-like tendencies, it can be a bad thing. It all depends on the person. I find it helps my tendencies. I find a sense of routine, and that relaxes me. So, everyone is different, and if you're like that person who it gets overwhelmed by this, and just don't play it right now. Anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this video, give it a big thumbs up, and if you're new to this channel and like what you see, please subscribe. It helps this channel a lot. And don't forget to hit the bell notification so you'll know when new videos are coming out. And I'll see you guys in my next video.